Think about those first few moments when you wake up. That stretch, maybe swinging your legs out of bed, grabbing coffee, buttoning a shirt later on. It's all pretty automatic for most of us, right?
Yeah.
We don't even think about it. But, well, for some people, those simple actions, they're not simple at all. They're like the first battles of the day. Each one needs just immense effort, real courage. Today, in this deep dive, we're exploring a condition called Bethlem Myopathy. It makes even the smallest movements a huge challenge. Basically, it's a rare muscle disorder, inherited, affecting connective tissues. It leads to muscle weakness, joint issues. It progresses over time. It's a world where, your own body feels like it's resisting you constantly. So our mission today is to really get into the daily realities, the struggles you don't always see, and also, importantly, the resilience, the hope found in people living with this.
Exactly. And to help us understand that, we're looking at some powerful material excerpts from Bethlem Myopathy, Daily Battles, and Enduring Hope. These aren't just dry clinical descriptions. They give you a real firsthand look into what it's actually like to live with this condition. It really highlights the human spirit that comes through, even with these big physical obstacles. It's kind of an exploration of empathy, too, helping us grasp not just what it is, but what it means.
Okay, so let's unpack that a bit. These daily battles. What do the sources tell us? Let's start with, just starting the day, getting out of bed. The source material says it's not just simple. It's like the first major hurdle. The body feels stiff, and even the tiniest movements take conscious effort, sometimes painful effort.
Yeah, it's a complete recalibration of what normal effort feels like. It's not just rolling out of bed, it's a deliberate process. And then think about the things we barely notice. The source really highlights this. Things like buttoning a shirt, combing hair, or opening a door. These aren't quick actions. The accounts say they take time and patience. It's not just about the physical energy, it's the constant mental focus needed for things that are usually automatic for others.
Wow, that really puts it in perspective, that constant focus. It sounds exhausting in itself.
It is. It's navigating each moment very deliberately, not just flowing through the day.
And this effort, it clearly goes way beyond just the morning, right? It affects everything. Mobility, for example, getting up from a chair, most of us just stand up. But the sources say, for someone with Bethlem myopathy, even getting up from a chair often needs support.
Support or maybe specific techniques learned over time.
And taking a walk, forget a leisurely stroll. A short walk can feel completely draining. And stairs. They're described as seeming like mountains.
That's a powerful image, isn't it? It really drives home how basic movement becomes this major challenge. It reshapes your whole interaction with the physical world.
And the struggle doesn't just stop when the day ends either.
No, not at all. The accounts also talk about night pain and stiffness. They explain that sleeping isn't easy when muscles tighten and ache. So you've got this continuous cycle. The body doesn't really get a full break, full rest.
Day and night. It really underscores what the sources call unimaginable courage.
Exactly. Every smile you see, every task someone manages to complete, every single step.
Yeah.
It's all built on this incredible internal strength needed just to, get through the day.
Okay, so that brings us to something maybe less obvious, but just as important. The invisible side of it. The burden of, pain people can't see, and the misunderstanding that comes with it. The sources state it pretty plainly. People don't see invisible pain.
And that invisibility creates a whole other layer of difficulty. It's a really crucial point. The material talks about misunderstanding from society being a major obstacle in itself. Sometimes judgment replaces empathy.
How so? What does that look like in practice?
Well, imagine seeing someone struggling, maybe moving slowly or having trouble with a door. Without understanding the condition, someone might just think they're, lazy or not trying or even being difficult.
Right. Instead of realizing there's an underlying physical reason.
Precisely. And that kind of external misinterpretation, that lack of awareness, it just adds to the internal burden. It can make things feel even more isolating.
Yeah, that makes sense. It really does make you stop and think, how many people around us are fighting battles we know nothing about? And when you add that potential for judgment on top of the physical challenges, it makes that strong heart and a smile that never fades, the sources talk about, seem even more incredible.
It really does. It's a strong reminder to try and look past the surface.
So, okay, given all these challenges, the physical effort, the potential misunderstanding, how do people cope? Where does that resilience actually come from?
Yeah.
How do they find the strength?
That's the big question, isn't it? And the sources give us some really good insights. They point to 4 sort of key pillars of strength and hope. The first one is mental fortitude. This comes up again and again. Things like meditation, prayer, and self-belief are the real medicine.
So it's about the inner game, the mindset.
Very much so. It's not about pretending the physical stuff isn't happening, but about actively building the mental strength to face it, to find the resolve to make that effort, or just to get through another challenging day. It's about choosing not to be defined only by the condition.
That makes a lot of sense, building that inner resilience. But it can't be only mental, surely.
Yeah.
There has to be a physical aspect to managing it, too.
Oh, absolutely. And that's the second pillar, physical maintenance. The sources emphasize physiotherapy and exercise, specifically small, consistent movements help keep the body strong.
So even though there's no cure right now, being proactive physically still makes a difference.
A big difference. It's about managing the symptoms, trying to maintain the strength they have, maybe even slowing down the progression a bit. It's about taking control where you can. Small, consistent actions adding up.
Right, focusing on what is possible. And I imagine support from others must be huge, too.
That's crucial. That's the third pillar, the power of connection. Specifically, the sources highlight families' love support from loved ones is the biggest healing power.
That sounds about right. Just knowing someone's got your back.
Exactly. Having that network of people who understand, or at least try to understand, who offer practical help and just emotional support, that can be incredibly sustaining when you're facing these kinds of constant challenges.
Okay, mental fortitude, physical maintenance, connection. What's the fourth pillar?
The fourth one is about reaching outwards, sharing and awareness. The sources talk about sharing your story, inspiring others through social media or conversations creates awareness and hope.
So that connects back to tackling the misunderstanding we talked about earlier.
Precisely. When people share their experiences, they do a few things. They find their own voice, they connect with others who get it, and they educate the broader public. It slowly starts to chip away at that judgment and build empathy instead. It's like turning vulnerability into a kind of collective strength. Personal stories helping create wider understanding.
That's really powerful. Using your own struggle to potentially ease the path for others and change perceptions. So with all these coping strategies and the current realities, what about the future? What's the scientific outlook? Is there hope on that front?
Well, the sources are realistic. They state clearly that there is no full cure yet. That's the current situation. But, and this is important, they also emphasize that science is advancing every day. There's definitely a sense of momentum and hope there.
Okay, so research is actively happening.
Yes, very much so. The sources specifically mention ongoing research into things like new medicines and gene therapy. The goal with these approaches is to eventually get at the underlying genetic causes, maybe strengthen the muscles that are affected, and ultimately really improve quality of life.
That's incredibly encouraging to hear, and knowing that scientists are working on this, looking for better treatments, maybe even a cure down the line.
It absolutely is, and it leads nicely into a really profound statement from the sources, kind of summing up this aspect. Bethlem myopathy may slow the body, but it strengthens the spirit.
Slows the body, but strengthens the spirit. That really captures it, doesn't it? That blend of physical challenge and the unique kind of inner strength it seems to forge. So as we start to wrap up this deep dive, we've really journeyed through the complex daily world of Bethlem myopathy. We've seen how everyday things we take for granted, become huge physical battles, just getting out of bed, walking, those simple tasks. We've also touched on that heavy, invisible burden, the pain people don't see, the societal misunderstanding, and the sheer courage it takes to face that every day.
But running through all of that, the real core has been the resilience, hasn't it? That enduring hope, how people find strength through their own mental fortitude, through taking care of their bodies physically, through the love and support of family, and, as we just discussed, through the power of sharing their stories.
Absolutely. The human spirit finding ways to adapt and persist.
And the sources give us such a powerful final thought on that, summing up that spirit. Every day brings challenges, but every smile spreads hope. Bethlem myopathy doesn't break you, it teaches you courage.
Wow. It doesn't break you. It teaches you courage. It's quite something. And maybe that's the thought to leave you with today. As you go about your day, think about that idea. Invisible battles. How many are being fought around you right now with quiet strength? What does courage really look like when you can't always see the struggle? And maybe think about how our own empathy, our willingness to understand, can help bridge that gap of unseen pain. Perhaps learning about conditions like Bethlem myopathy doesn't just teach us about others. Maybe it teaches all something about courage and strengthens our own spirit too. Something to ponder.